The ballroom froze. Crystal glasses trembled in stunned silence. Moments ago, the CEO had sneered at the janitor, mocking his presence at the grand gala. But now, the orchestra's conductor was pale, frantic, his voice echoing across the room. "Is there anyone here who can play the piano? A virtuoso?" Every eye turned toward the man in the simple uniform. The chandelier glittered above the gala like a crown of cold diamonds, its light spilling across gowns and tailored suits. Laughter rippled through the hall, sharp as glass, as the CEO's words cut through the air. He mocked the janitor standing near the corner, a man holding a mop with quiet dignity. "Perhaps he's here to polish the stage," the CEO sneered, sending waves of cruel laughter across tables lined with silver and champagne. The janitor did not reply. He bowed his head slightly, eyes steady, hands still. Silence was his shield. His uniform was worn, his shoes dulled, but his presence carried a weight no one there could name. Then the chaos came. The orchestra was moments away from their performance when the pianist, renowned, celebrated, collapsed backstage. The conductor rushed forward, his voice straining against panic. "We need a pianist, a true virtuoso. Is anyone here who can play?" His plea hung in the air, heavy, desperate. Whispers spread like wildfire. Eyes darted, but no hand rose. The guests, so rich in status, were poor in skill. The silence deepened until it became unbearable. That was when one pair of eyes, sharp and curious, turned toward the janitor. He did not move. The weight of his past few knew the truth about the man they mocked. Years earlier, his hands had not held mops, but keys of ivory and ebony. He had been a pianist for the military orchestra, playing music to heal soldiers returning from battlefields scarred by fire and grief. He had played under the open sky, where echoes of artillery still lingered in the night, his notes carrying broken men back to memories of home. His brother had not returned from the war. And so the piano, once his world, became too heavy. He left the stage, left the lights, and sought silence in humble work. Cleaning floors gave him peace no applause ever could. Yet the music never left his hands. It slept there, waiting. The mockery grows. The CEO chuckled again, dismissing the conductor's panic. "We're wasting time. Surely someone important can fill in, not the janitor." His laughter felt like a command, urging others to agree. And they did. They turned their eyes away from the man in the corner, complicit in silence. But silence can hold power. The janitor straightened slowly. His face was calm, but his eyes seemed to pierce the veil of ridicule. He stepped forward. Guests shifted uneasily, torn between laughter and disbelief. The conductor's desperate gaze fell on him, clinging to a fragile hope. "Sir," the janitor said softly, his first words that night, "I can play." The hall erupted in disbelief. Some laughed outright. "The janitor?" they scoffed. "He'll embarrass us all." The CEO smirked, confident that this would end in humiliation. The silent resistance. The janitor approached the grand piano, its black surface gleaming beneath the chandeliers. His fingers hovered above the keys, trembling, not with fear, but with memory. The conductor gave a slight nod, uncertain, but with nothing left to lose. Then came the first note. It rang pure and deep, filling every corner of the hall. It was not just music. It was truth. The janitor's hands moved with grace and fire, weaving sorrow and hope into melodies that made time stand still. Each note carried the weight of soldiers waiting in silence, the laughter of children he had once dreamed of, and the aching loss of a brother gone too soon. The guests forgot their champagne, forgot their pride. Some lowered their heads, others wiped their eyes, unprepared for the flood of emotion. The CEO, pale now, sat frozen, his mockery turned to ash. The unexpected power shift. The janitor played not to impress, but to remind. His silence had always been misunderstood. It was not weakness. It was the quiet of a man who had seen too much, lost too much, and yet carried beauty inside him still. When the final chord faded, there was no applause, only silence, the kind that is sacred. Then, one by one, the guests rose to their feet, not in excitement, but in reverence. The conductor bowed deeply to the janitor, his voice breaking as he whispered, "You have saved this night." Iconic lines in that moment, three truths remained, unshakable, carried in the whispers of the crowd. Silence is not weakness. It is strength waiting for its moment. Dignity needs no defense. Some battles are won not with power, but with grace. The CEO could not hide. Surrounded by standing guests, he lowered his eyes, shame flooding his face. For the first time, words failed him. The man he mocked had lifted an entire hall with nothing but music and memory, and in that moment, every cruel word collapsed under the weight of quiet honor. The janitor bowed slightly and returned to his corner, his task unfinished, yet his soul lighter. He did not seek applause nor forgiveness. His silence once again became his shield, but now it was also his crown. Reflection, the gala ended, but the story lingered. Many would tell it again and again. The night when a man in simple clothes taught the wealthy the meaning of respect. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all was this: you never know the battles carried in another's silence, nor the brilliance hidden behind humble work. So the question remains for all who hear this story: will you choose mockery, or will you choose respect? Stories like this remind us of the unseen strength in those around us. If this story touched you, share your thoughts in the comments, and tell us where you're watching from. And if you believe in honoring silent heroes, subscribe for more stories that reveal the dignity and strength often overlooked. Because sometimes the greatest power lies not in titles or wealth, but in silence that speaks louder than words.